You know, I have no idea how this deck managed to win this event with how much meta is present, but I'm genuinely impressed. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more honest content. You know, I'm actually surprised with how much data is present for this, that Spright somehow managed to win this. Look at this meta-filled pie chart. There is not a real shred of rogue here, minus tier and mathmech. And you're telling me that Spright was able to overcome that huge section of Kashtira. I'm genuinely impressed. I really am. I think that the way that Kashtira kind of has, you know, the highest representation here, you shouldn't be surprised about that. There's a reason why the deck is the crazy consistent monster that it is. So many people genuinely don't enjoy playing against this. I get it. All right, but 6 in your top 16, almost half. Now, we also had 3 purely duels down here, so technically with your high-end meta competition down here, you did smash out over 50% of it in the tier 1 category. Now, we also had 2 Infra-Noble Knight duels down here actually making top 8, which I'm kind of impressed with. Most of these, I mean, you'll see 1, but to see 2, okay. Now, our 1-of section here, we did have 1 Labyrinth duelist. I'm not all that surprised either. We had Mathmech grinding on the competition here as well. We had 1 tier elements, standard little pile cards, you know, in terms of the interactions, the free fusion chicken nuggies. We had 1 branded Despia, and then of course we had our Spright duelist here. But in terms of meta, this is a huge representation here. It's kind of a shame that we didn't see a little bit more rogue here, but, you know, if your top 16 is going to be this jam-packed with meta, you have so much to actually compete for here that it's actually kind of crazy. So I'm actually very happy with these results. Let's pass on over to deck list. Winning our event here was Spright, and I mean, you want to talk about consistent Spright piles. I mean, this feels very same. I mean, you're playing the Scissors in here. You have the Iprea, 3 Book of Moons for, you know, monster control. This feels pretty standard. I do see that we're also playing the Nightmare Corruptor Ibli down here as well. So the ability to, you know, punish your opponent with the Nightmare Corruptor is actually pretty straightforward. We're also playing the Gamma Burst for the OTK. You know what? I like this. Not too bad. Second place down here is our Mathmech. You're telling me the Mathmech grinded all the way up through everything that was present in this meta and still managed to place itself here? Yeah, it did. One of the most interesting things here is 1 Crossout Designator in the main deck. You know, you figure that they would want to opt for more, at least to make sure that their stuff can resolve, but I guess they felt like they just didn't need it. Little tech choices like that, I think, are kind of hilarious at the end of the day, so that's kind of cool. What else we got back? Oh, hi, Purely. You know, playing the triple Fenrir, of course, so you can get the toggling going. We're also playing Double Droplet. Actually wild that they chose to play Double Droplet in a format like this, where you're seeing so much going on right now with, you know, Rice Heart everywhere. So the fact that they got away with that, that's kind of interesting in and itself. All right, I see that we are citing very, very, very strong hate down there as well. Okay, let's see here. Our Tier Elements duelist managed to get 4th place here as well. Wow, still playing triple Fenrir for the toggling all of the Shizu cards, triple Diviner for the standard dump. We're playing the 1 Scatter Shot for time. Gotta love the fact that you just snap your fingers, like, oh, there goes the Scatter Shot, take 500 duelist, and your opponent's just... they're like, this is why I hate the time rolls. Outside of that, I mean, King of the Swamp is the way to go right now. You can play some of the other crazier variants, but I don't think it's going to work out. Next up here, we have another Purely Duelist. So I see that we are on double Book of Eclipse, triple Book of Moon here. So we have 5 books to clean up essentially anything that the opponent might be pressuring us with, which is actually not terrible. I see that we are playing a nice little Retaliating Sea down there. Okay. We're on 1 little Nor, 2 big Nors. We've actually extended out into 2 Zeuses here as well. So pretty good pile. All right. Next up here we have our Infernoble Duelist, and I see 1 Gearfried is absolutely correct. Now there are people trying to play 2 Gearfried out here. We are playing Dempy. We are not playing the High Knight Lancelin for the Droll Lines. Lancelin is kind of okay. It's not crazy. You play the Caliburn for time. Yeah, this looks... I don't see anything out of left field here. I think most of this feels pretty consistent. Got to give it up for Noble Knights. They've been pretty strong. Next up here, we have our first Kashtira Duelist. We're playing the Raid Raptor package in here as well. We've seen that kind of show up as a cute little interaction for the deck. We're playing triple Book of Moon, double enemy controller in here, and then of course you do see the lances here for the extra defensive plays. That way when your opponent does try to out your field, you're just like, oh, nope, sorry, chain lance, real shame. Thanks for playing. That's still one of my genuine favorite interactions. And then of course we're playing Trap Trick down here as well. Okay, kind of cool. And then we have our other Infernoble Duelist here. I see, yeah, we're still playing Caliburn. We've managed to shave it down to 40 cards. We are not playing any of the Quantum Red Layer for the special summon for the fire. That's kind of interesting. I do like what Red Layer does give to the deck. Those free little extensions slash starters for the deck is actually a lot more important than I think people really give it credit for. So maybe some consideration. I mean, the other build did play one. Maybe it is something you should play. Next up is our Labyrinth Duelist, and I see, oh, we have double Super Polymerization in the main deck. There's our one Destructive Daruma Unfun Cannon to laugh at the opponent. We are playing so many Super Poly targets in here. Interesting enough, no Chaos Angel in this build. And then, of course, we have a nice little spread of the viruses here to make sure that you can infect your opponent's deck with whichever destructive force that you need to be able to handle. Yeah, I don't see anything else too crazy about this. Okay. Next up is our next Kashtira Duelist, and we're on 6 books, 2 lances. Well, that's pretty standard. We do have Goliath in here as well. This build actually opted to play triple Nightmare Corruptor Ibly and triple copies of Cynet Mining as well. That way you can just hand whatever, just go get the Ibly, just hand it over to your opponent. Your opponent's going to stare at you and go, wow, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for playing. It's kind of the little treat that we get today. All right, next up is our Branded Duelist here, and I see that we are playing Duality in this deck. To be personally honest with you, I really like Duality. I think this card is a lot of fun. A lot of the little fun interactions that you can get with this actually are kind of cool. I see that we are playing the Gimmick Puppet, Quem. Alright, yeah, this feels kind of standard, honestly. The fact that somebody is main decking the Gimmick Puppet is still kind of incredible. Alright, what else we got back here in our pile? Oh boy, Kashtira. And this is another build playing the Raid Raptor stuff. So, how many Raid Raptor decks can we, or how many Raid Raptor engines can we see in this top cut? Because 2 is already feeling like a lot more than we're typically used to seeing. See that we are playing Gallant Granite in here as well. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Outside of that, I mean, a lot of these Kashtira decks feel very standard. I guess the fact that you can go search for Nibiru to laugh at your opponent is kind of cool. Boy, now this is standard Kashtira, but we're on the Holy Nine. You got the triple book, the triple Eclipse, and the triple Forbidden Lance. Boy, oh boy, your opponent is not going to get the chance to want to play the game. That's actually beautiful. We do have shifters for the control aspect in here. Double Zeus, I feel like, has become a little bit more of a norm for this deck as well. The deck does kind of struggle to kind of clean up a lot of the messes it's been left with. Next up is more Kashtira, and you see, like, I feel like there was one immediate change there, where it's just, we're playing the 1 tier elements Kashtira in the deck. Okay, pretty standard, I feel like, at this point. Once again, you're on those 6 books. You have the lances for the defensive options. Yeah, your opponent is not going to have a good time. The side deck also is pretty straightforward. It's amazing to me just how streamlined this deck can actually look on paper with no real innovation. Next up is more Kashtira. Oh boy. This build actually opted for double crossout designator here, so that way you can go ahead and punish the opponent. You also have double thrust on here to toggle into. I mean, you have so many traps you could toggle into. Holy moly. Also, the fact this deck did play only 2 Book of Moons. Kind of interesting in itself, but yeah, everything else here looks pretty standard. I don't have any real complaints for this either. It's so streamlined. And our last list is another purely duelist back here, sporting off 3 Book of Eclipse, triple Book of Moon. Pretty standard. See, we're playing Drolls with the Ashes and only double Imperm. And we are citing Santa Claus down here just to make sure that we can answer anything that the opponent sets up. Yeah, seems pretty good. And of course, the Vanities Fiends. Oh boy, you know, it's all fun and games, so you have a big cat sitting next to the Vanities Fiend, and your opponent's just like, what am I supposed to do about this? So this is your regional breakdown. Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let's your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.